Hello, guys. Welcome. I'm back with another podcast. It's your man, Jay Will. We're going to kick off a quick podcast for you. And I wanted to start off by letting you guys know that I'm excited to be back. I had to take some time off. I was really ill, and I had to really get things in order. Let me get this out on Google Plus. That I am live. And we will kick this ball off, get this thing rolling here. How's everybody doing? Tuesday night podcast. It is Tuesday, right? Is today Tuesday? Yeah, today's Tuesday. I had to make sure. One time I was going to start a podcast on like a Monday. I was like, what the heck is going on? What am I doing? I'm tripping. But a few things to talk about with today's market. There's a lot of stuff going on, but we're going to tackle just a few of them here today. iPhone X, U11, SA Active, T-Mobile, and Sprint. Yeah. There's some things that we could cover. So, I'm excited to be able to just bring you a podcast every Tuesday when I can. And again, this won't be a very long podcast, but I'm trying to get one in because I miss it. Every time I say this, it's not going to be a long podcast. I end up, I end up doing a long podcast, right? That is how it goes. So welcome everybody that's here. Welcome to the show. The J. Will Smartphone Conversations Show. I'll try to be brief. I'll try to keep this one under an hour. I'm looking more at like a 35 minutes or 30 minutes or so. Because I'm feeling better, but I'm not feeling too well, so we shall see. But it's your man, Jay Will. What do you guys think about the T-Mobile Sprint merger? What do you think about that? What do I think about it? I think that it was a bad idea. I don't think that the powers that be, and this is probably Night Tech calling in. He was supposed to join me on this podcast. Let me make sure. Where you at, Night Tech? Is that you, buddy? I'll call you back if it is you, Night Tech. I think that is him. Or is it? I got somebody ringing me up. Shh, be quiet. Stop calling me. Sorry, folks. Okay, finally it's over. Let me mute things out. But the Sprint T-Mobile merger is a bad idea. Because the industry, they're not going to allow a duopoly. Now, T-Mobile can sell it any way they want to. We all know that Sprint is not the best company in some ways, but they're still a company. And they're not going to allow, like, unless they're just folding under pressure and all the customers leave. You know what? You know when they'll allow a merger like that to happen? They'll allow a merger like that to happen when Sprint loses like 20% of their people at one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to have to be something really drastic for them to allow them to do a merger or something like that. It's not going to happen. Hey, people joining in the chat now. How you guys doing? Hey, Susan. I think that it's going to take something really drastic to happen for them to allow a merger like that. They tried it with AT&T. AT&T got stuck and paid T-Mobile, what, $4 billion or $8 billion or $8 million? I don't know what it was. They paid them a bunch of money back in the day because that deal was just a stupid deal. I don't know what AT&T got suckered into that. I don't know why they thought T-Mobile was a failing company. But T-Mobile took advantage of that, and they actually, they got paid in that situation. And it was a big win for them because they used that money to take care of their network, which was smart. I think T-Mobile played AT&T, to be honest. I think they played AT&T, and they did a good job at it, and that's the end of that. But this merger thing that everybody keeps trying to... These they're not stupid out in the industry, and they're not going to allow a merger like that to happen. And like I was saying before, I think the only way that something like this will happen is if a company is like on its last leg, like half of the customers walk out, or 75% of the customers walk out, and they say, okay, well, you don't have but like 5 or 10 million. It's a scramble. We're shutting down the company. Go where you need to go. That's the only way something like that is going to happen. They're not going to allow a merger to happen. How many customers does Sprint have? Maybe 28 million or 20 million. I don't know. 30 million. But they don't have enough to warrant them joining with T-Mobile and taking T-Mobile over to second place almost. That's just not. I think it's smart. I don't have anything against Sprint personally as a company. I just think that the customer service with them is not great. I've just had a number of things that happened that added up to it not being a great experience overall. So, hey to everybody that's in the podcast, I appreciate you guys joining in. Right now I'm talking about the Sprint T-Mobile merger. So many people have asked me about this. I'm like, yeah, I can see what's going on. I just don't want to comment on it yet until the right time. And I'm glad I waited because now it's over. There is no merger. And I'm happy that there's not a merger like I was saying before. If you just joined in, it's Tuesday's podcast, Shman J. Will. I'm happy that they're not allowing this merger for a number of reasons. The first reason is we don't need it. Like, why do we need it? We don't need it. We don't need another company like this so-called huge company, or I guess it's just not a good sales pitch for T-Mobile and Sprint to think that they're that stupid to where they're going to allow them to do a merger. Come on, that just doesn't make any sense. There is absolutely no way that they would allow this merger, and I hope that they don't ever merge. And I hope it comes down to a place where it's one of the companies is falling apart, and it won't be T-Mobile. You are calling in live on J. Will's podcast. Is this Anthony Knight from Tech Reviews of Anthony's Tech Reviews?
Yes, this is Night Tech from Anthony's Tech Night Reviews of Tech the Nights.
Everybody say what's up to Night Tech, man. So I kicked this thing off, man. I had to kick it off a little early. I got some things I got to do. And so this will be a quick one, like a 30-minute, 40-minute, no more than 35 minutes, 40 minutes. But right now, it's Tuesday's podcast, and Anthony Knight from Night Tech Reviews has decided to join us on this podcast once again. He's been on the podcast the last 2 times. And I'm going to, eventually I need to get some more people on. Having a panel podcast will be actually pretty fun. But I think right now, Night Tech, what we're talking about is the T-Mobile Sprint merger. Now, I've already went on record and decided, this probably was a bad idea. It's pretty much a bad idea. I don't think that they need to merge. I think Sprint can survive without T-Mobile, and I think T-Mobile can survive without Sprint. I know you've been following that. Do you think it was a good idea? I mean, it's over now, so there's not going to be a merger, which I'm glad. But do you think that was a good idea or a bad idea?
That was a dumb idea. Simple fact is, come on, it's Sprint. And the only real company that was really getting anything out of this was Sprint.
Yeah. Yeah.
T-Mobile really doesn't need Sprint. Sprint is not the best company by far, the best carrier. But, yeah, I didn't really think it made sense. I think it was really Sprint, trying to come back into the scene somehow.
Yeah.
But, yeah, a lot of people knew, though, that...
I just feel like it was just a silly move to try it again. Like, both companies are already established. Like, why do... And Sprint wouldn't have just benefited from that because... In the end, T-Mobile would have still been T-Mobile and Sprint would have disappeared. It would have been called T-Mobile. The shareholders are more on the T-Mobile side, so T-Mobile would have grown by 20, 30 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Plus, you count the prepaid too, they could have taken the number 1 spot almost.
Yeah, but Sprint would have benefited because then, remember, Sprint loses a lot of money.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you look into the Sprint, their so-called, their financial stuff, they get a lot of back. Basically, they're owned by SoftBank.
Yeah.
SoftBank pushes out a lot of money every year to stop Sprint from going under. Because it's been in the in the media a lot of the times.
Oh yeah.
So Sprint would have benefited because they would have merged. T-Mobile and Sprint would have had the bigger spectrum, and basically they would have did like how T-Mobile did with Metro. They would have just swallowed them up and either made them a smaller company and let them keep their name,
right?
Or they would just swallow the whole thing up and it would all become T-Mobile, and then the board members and everybody else would have been under T-Mobile, and they would have been making more money.
So here's
just more customers for T-Mobile.
Here's what would have happened. So T-Mobile would have grabbed the current customer base of Sprint, and right now, T-Mobile, as of the third quarter of 2017, Verizon is the only one that hasn't updated yet because they actually lost a lot of subscribers to T-Mobile. But currently, the top 5 carriers are Verizon number 1, AT&T. Now, this is just subscriber base. Verizon, 147.2 million as of the second quarter because they haven't turned in their latest numbers yet. AT&T has 138.8 million as of the third quarter of 2017. T-Mobile has 70.7 million as of the third quarter of 2017, and Sprint has 54 million as of the third quarter of 2017. Now, U.S. Cellular actually has 5 million. That's actually pretty good. But think about if they would have joined together. That's 121 million that T-Mobile would jump to, and eventually, they will overtake AT&T. Which I remember when T-Mobile had like 20 million subs. They had 20 million subs, and they just weren't growing until John Ledger came along, and he quadrupled this company. So, but I still think it's some shady, under-the-table, backdoor stuff that's going on when they keep trying to sneak these mergers in.
See, I don't think they actually were trying to sneak the mergers. Good night, Mario.
Not literally in the sense, but, they're doing it under our noses.
But what it is the funny part is the reason why, from what they're saying, is the reason why it didn't go through is because they couldn't come to an agreement on how the company was going to be run between T-Mobile's top execs and SoftBank. I guess they couldn't decide who was going to run, take charge of both the companies.
Well,
run it as, I guess, the CEO once they merged.
Well, the thing about that was, it was John Ledger, and they didn't want to, the article, the last article I read, the guy said, I don't want to turn over power to T-Mobile. So SoftBank increased their shareholders. They didn't want to turn over power to T-Mobile, and they didn't want John Ledger to run the company. And that's pretty much what happened, and they said, we're pulling out.
They're not, and the smart thing, you would think that this company would want to make money.
Exactly.
At this point, you're a big company who your purpose is to make money.
Right.
So why not leave John as the CEO of the company when he's the one who basically brung T-Mobile to where it is right now? Obviously, these customers are coming over from these other carriers because this man knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
He knows what the people want, and he knows he's not that. Nobody wants to see that boring old CEO come out in his three-piece suit saying, "Hey guys, this is blah blah blah, and today we're gonna announce that we are giving you guys 18 gigabytes of data today, and the other companies only give you 15, but theirs is, I don't know, $100 and ours is $200. Nobody. Why do you think they got so many customers? Because they're undercutting the rest of these carriers and giving the customers more than what these other carriers are giving. Some of these plans might not seem like they're okay. They kind of seem like kind of shady, but when you actually look into them, you're getting that unlimited data, even if it's only, you get I think, what's T-Mobile? Is it at, it's like 28 or 20?
No, it's at 50 gigs of unlimited data before you get capped.
Because I couldn't remember. I knew
Sprint is 22.
Right? So it's at 50 gigs. 50 gigs. Unless you going hard in the paint, the average consumer's not using 50 gigs.
Right, yeah.
I don't use it with Wi-Fi in play. I'm not using 20 gigs. So And then I'm like right now, for example, I'm still grandfathered into the first T-Mobile $100 unlimited.
Yeah, I was on that one too. I let it go.
Right now I'm still on it. I got 2 lines for $100 unlimited everything.
Yeah.
So I don't plan on leaving that plan at all. I know they got the T-Mobile One or whatever it is, and you get unlimited. But what is it? It's like your streaming is at 480p.
You can turn that off though. You can get high quality streaming.
I'm just gonna stay on my plan till they force me out or whatever.
Well, back to what you were saying about them not wanting to, why wouldn't they want to turn over control to John Ledger and T-Mobile? It's kind of sad, but you're right. They should be wanting to work as one and make money and grow. But this is pretty simple to me. Maybe I lived long enough, but it's just a male ego. That's just ego right there. Why wouldn't you just want to play the second base if you had to? If I told you, hey, Night Tech, man, we're going to join this thing together. Now, you can't take charge. You can own 45% of Jay Will's smartphone conversations. You can own 45%, but I'm still the face of the company. And right now, you only making 20%. So you can double your profits pretty much. And I'm giving you another 25%. I'm giving you 45% stake in my company. But I'm the face, and I'm going to run this, and I'm going to still be out there. Even though in the background, you just processed 5 million of these. And you're saying the background stuff is where you're actually counting. That's called ego right there. If they don't want John Ledger out front, like why wouldn't they want John Ledger out front? He grew T-Mobile like 20, 30, 40 million subs. So to me, that's just ego, man. Like, why would a person not want to make money? And the shareholders over at SoftBank, you see how they increased it after the merger, they stopped it. So I just think, at least in all my experiences of being a man and being on Earth for a while, that's just male ego. John Ledger is pretty much famous. He does things that's unorthodox. He does all kind of crazy things, and his things are working. He's doing it right. So, and they don't want that to end. They're not gonna. Why would you not allow John Ledger out front? What's going on, guys? Quick pause, real quick for everybody that's in the podcast live. Got TK in here, Susan's in here, Mobile Geezer's here. Shout out to Anderson and Sean is here, Marcus, Brad, everybody who's not commenting. Shout out to you too, because I know there's a lot of people that's always in the stream, that the podcast, they don't normally comment a lot and they just like to listen, and that's why the podcast exists. So we're talking right now. We kicked this thing off. We're talking right now about the merger that was gonna happen, but it's not gonna happen. So I'm happy that it doesn't happen, and that's just what it is. So shifting gears here for a minute. And again, folks, if you're just joining in, this probably won't be a long podcast. I have to actually take care of some business in the next 20 minutes or so. So I'm gonna keep it short to the point this time. But next, I promise I'll probably do another stream, another podcast tomorrow night to make up for this one, because I don't have a lot on the schedule. I've already got a lot of stuff booked for Wednesday, so I might be free again tomorrow. So if you want to do another podcast tomorrow, you just let me know and I'll get on it. But let's kick it over to the Galaxy S8 Active. Now, the Galaxy S8 Active is a phone that was limited to AT&T for how many years now? Maybe 3 rotations, 2 or 3 rotations. I don't see who is the Galaxy S8 Active? I know who it's for, but the price is $850 or $899 or something like that. You can get it on Samsung's website for a little bit less, I think, with a discount or trading and stuff. I don't know. But the Galaxy S8 Active is a phone that should have come out at the same time as the Galaxy S8, in my opinion, on all carriers. Because right now, you've got all these people that bought all these accessories for the Galaxy S8, and now they might think, oh man, I could have bought that. You know what I'm saying? For $100 more, I could have just got one that's ultra rugged with a bigger battery. Well, the battery's 4,000 milliamps or something like that? Let me look this up. I mean, the Galaxy S8 Active is probably a hot phone. But who at this point is going to buy it? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, would you? Now, if you follow me, you know I love the Galaxy S8. I like the small one. I think the small one is like the perfect size, which is why I like the iPhone 10. It's a good size. It's pretty much all screen. Any phone that's all screen that's small, I like it. So the Galaxy S8 Active is It's a good phone, probably. It's a solid phone, but who now is going to buy that after they already have the Galaxy S8 with an OtterBox on it or a case on? Are they going to do a trade-in? Who would buy it now?
Somebody who doesn't have a Galaxy already and wants a rugged phone, I'm guessing.
Right.
But
or those people who bought it, right, and then they said, oh my gosh, they brought this out after the fact. Let me go in and buy it and trade my other one. That's possible. Again, I'm not saying that's not going to sell or it's a bad phone, but I truly believe that the releasing of these devices, I think they should come at the same time and just let it go. Let it work for you,
Yeah, but didn't AT&T have the exclusive on it?
They had the exclusive on it, but even AT&T didn't get it right away, remember? It's a phone.
It's always been like that.
Yeah. It's a phone that comes out kind of a month or 2 or 3 afterwards. But right now, do you think it's too late for T-Mobile customers?
I feel like it's the phone that should have never really existed. But
really,
I feel like they wait. I'm saying because if you think about it, the first one was, like you said, exclusive to AT&T.
Yeah.
I feel like AT&T, worked with Samsung to bring that out. They were like, hey, man, we want this device. So after that, they just kept on doing it. So I feel like the reason why it comes out so after the other ones, because they're waiting for AT&T to be like, yo, we need this phone.
It's selling, too. From what I understand, it's actually selling. Like, it's not a bad selling phone. It's actually a hot item.
Because there's a lot of people out there that need a phone like that, construction, outdoors stuff, hiking, all that crazy stuff, all those water, sports and outdoor sports and water sports and all this other stuff. So I'm guessing this is probably the first year that Samsung was able to actually offer it to other carriers, and T-Mobile was like, hey, why not? Let's see if we can get some money off of that.
And I think that's a good move. I don't see that as a bad move. I just think the approach,
it's gonna sell. So.
Yes, but you know what didn't sell? Like T-Mobile. Let's be real here. T-Mobile doesn't have the best run for selling rugged phones. All the rugged phones that T-Mobile tried to sell didn't sell, and they went on sale right away, and people still didn't buy them.
I've seen a couple of those Kyocera. What were they called?
Yeah, I know the latest one. Yeah.
I almost made up my own name. I was about to say the Kyocera Juggernaut. Because that thing was humongous.
It's huge. It's like a phone with 4 OtterBoxes on it. It's too big. It's too bulky. The S8 Active is much better buy.
I've seen a couple of people with that, but
that thing is ridiculous.
Other than that, I'm like, nobody's really in the market right now that, unless, Samsung that's making rugged phones that people actually want, especially when you have things like the OtterBox cases and these military grade cases that they come out with now, because that gives you the option to go, full out coverage mode or just rocking your phone without anything on it.
Now, shout out to Susan in the podcast. She makes a very compelling point. It also takes away the curve. You get a flat screen. You get that flat screen S8 that you always wanted. And right there, that alone is tempting to me. I'm not saying the Galaxy S8. In no way am I saying it's a bad phone. I think it's a hot phone. It's still small. It's got a bigger battery, and you get that flat screen. You get all the perks.
But you actually lose though the actual design of the phone though.
You do. You lose a little bit of the phone. I mean, let's be honest. You do lose a little bit of the phone, but not too much. It's still a slim. It's 9.9 millimeters, right?
It looked like a bulked up bulked up G6.
On the front, it does kind of look like a G6 on the front.
No, I'm saying if you throw some armor on it, it look like the G6 with some armor on it. And on the back, when you flip it look like the S8 with some armor on it.
But I mean, if you compare it next to the original S8, it's only a little bit thicker, a little bit wider, and a little bit taller. And it's a little bit heavier. But at the same time, you still have the Corning Gorilla Glass. You've got extra rugged on it now. It's IP68. It's just that I'd actually rock out with the S8 Active, man. If it wasn't $850, I'd rock out with it. I'd rock out with that phone because you get a 4,000 milliamp hour battery, man. That's crazy right there because the current battery of 3,000 on the Galaxy S8 is still actually pretty good. I could bang a lot of hours out on that thing, but the Active is, you know, it's got a much bigger battery. I mean, you get 1,000, you basically get another phone. Mm-hmm. You know, so the iPhone X is obviously popular. You know, let's be real here. It's very popular, and it's also getting a lot of hate. You know, but that just comes with every new phone. So Apple's way of doing things, when it comes to doing smartphones, you either hate it or love it, or you're going to rock with them or you're not going to rock with them. And, you know, I asked myself the question, like, but when I was still in the corporate world, what kind of phone I had. And back then, it was a BlackBerry or a flip phone, because these phones didn't exist. But I often wonder, if I wasn't doing these tech reviews and I wasn't retired, what kind of phone would I have? And honestly, I think it would, and sadly, because even though I love tech, I think it would probably be an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy Note or something like that, or an S8. I question that because I wondered what I would be using if I didn't have like 50 or 60 phones like I do. I wonder which ones I would actually buy. Because I used to keep a phone until it broke, and then I would do an insurance claim and get another one, get the same phone. You know, I was upgrading every 2 years. If you weren't involved in tech, do you think you could predict what kind of phone you had? Like you would have, you know?
I could tell you what phone I would have right now if I wasn't involved in tech.
What's that?
But it would all depend on how Android would, you know, be run. If it was run perfectly,
right?
It would probably, no lie, probably be the essential phone because I could get more years out of it. Because that titanium build in ceramic, that right there is automatic drop protection. So all I would be thinking about really is if this phone is going to get updates.
Now, I answered that question, and I want you to think about this again now, because I answered that question taking myself completely away from technology the way I am, and I'm just a regular person that's going to buy a phone every 2 years or 3 years. That's how I answered the question. But the real question is, would you even know about the essential phone? I don't think you would even know about it.
I don't know, man.
Because there's no commercials for the essential phone. There's no commercials. There's no advertising. It's only Twitter. And knowing me,
so we're talking about I have no knowledge of the tech world.
Yeah, that's what I said. I answered it as though I have no knowledge of the tech world, because that means I don't use Twitter. Because I didn't use Twitter before. When I was in the corporate world, I didn't use Twitter. I didn't use any of that. I was like, get that crap out of here. I didn't do it. I wasn't interested in that. I was only interested in business. And business involved emails and phone calls and a few texts. And a lot of emails, though. That's why I said I would probably have a Note or an iPhone. But if you feel like you would know, actually, I don't think I would know about the Pixel,
so
the essential phone.
If I didn't know tech, then it would probably come down, and this is just like not knowing tech. If I needed a business phone, it would probably come down to Samsung, Apple, or BlackBerry, because BlackBerry users are still hard on the loan.
Yes.
So I can still see myself using a Passport, but at the same time, I could see myself also using the Key 1 if it came in at the correct price.
I think it's funny what Brad said, man.
And then again, I'm the average consumer now. So, what was it, $600?
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to pay all that money either.
Yeah, but I'm just like, if I'm picking one of them, you know, it's going to be Apple, Samsung, or the BlackBerry. So,
and I think
not like I have a choice of which BlackBerry is out there.
Now,
it's only the Key 1.
Now, knowing that, don't you think that's how the average consumer today thinks? They don't know about the essential phone, the Pixel, there's all these other Huawei's. They don't know about any of those phones until they jump on YouTube. And if I didn't, when I was in the corporate world, believe it or not, I did not watch YouTube. I put a few things up every now and then, but I just didn't watch YouTube. And it just wasn't interesting, and I didn't do Twitter. I didn't do any of that stuff because I was like, I'm not interested. And even today, bro, I don't even have a Facebook. I'm not interested in that.
Jay.
What's up?
Do you not remember last year's CES? When
What happened?
You were like, man, you better get yourself a Twitter.
Oh yeah, I know. You wasn't even really rocking on Twitter last year, and I was like, dude, you need a Twitter.
I'm like, I don't want to sit there and update people on what I'm
doing.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Twitter is a platform that you need if you're in social. If you're in YouTube or if you're promoting, if you're running a website, if you do anything like that, you need Twitter. And that's the only reason I started a Twitter.
The Twitter, before you actually told me, the Twitter I was thinking of was the Twitter when it first came out, when people were doing, eating a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
I'm done with my bowl of cereal. I'm now walking to the couch. So, like, that was the Twitter that I was thinking of. That's why I was like, why would I need Twitter, man? I don't need to be updating people every 5 minutes what I'm doing.
And now, you know what, thinking about your answer and thinking about, and I'm looking at the comments in the podcast too, I think that I clearly try to stay in the realm of an average consumer, even though I do tech, but I can clearly see why the average consumer buys iPhones and buys Samsungs. They're readily available in most cases. There are commercials on every 5 minutes. It's just always something there to let them know this is what you're supposed to be buying and this is what you're going to buy and here's why. And that's why I said, I'm going to be honest with myself, if I wasn't running a YouTube channel, I definitely would probably have an iPhone, or if I'm talking about current day, because the BlackBerry doesn't exist technically with BBOS, so they've been out of carriers for a long time. So if I was going to choose, I would definitely have an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy Note or a S8 probably. Those would be my only options to choose from. And even though I was using HTC back in the day, I only knew about them because of being in tech. So the LG, the Huawei, the ZTE, I wasn't paying attention to any of that. But I remember back in the day when I had a flip phone, I didn't even care about the brand of the flip phone. I just wanted a flip phone. I got what I needed. I didn't care about the brand. I wasn't into that. I was like, I don't care who it was made by. Just give me a good flip phone. You know what I mean? So
not me. I cared about which flip phone I had.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like
it had to be the best flip phone. It had to be the Razr, man. The Razr sold crazy flip phone. Motorola made crazy money with the Razr.
Oh yeah, they did, man. They did. I was going crazy trying to get a Razr back in the day. I just wanted it because it looked cool.
I was on eBay today, and I typed in the Razr phone.
Oh wow.
And Motorola Razr popped up. It's like $28 or something like that.
Wow.
You get your choice of colors. This is gold, black, gray. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, I wanted that gold one. But
I think that the state of the average consumer and people, I don't think a lot of people think about the average consumer. Like when I say a lot of people, I mean tech reviewers. A lot of them don't think about the average consumers because I don't know what it would be like on my channel if I only reviewed phones that cost over $500. And I guess it's easier for me to not review those a lot and to review phones that cost $49 or $28. I'm always telling people, here's the unlock code for $1.60. Because that's where I kind of came from. I was always looking for a good deal. But the fact is, the average consumers, they don't want to spend a lot of money. Yeah, they don't want to spend a lot of money.
That was about to be my next question. You said you would get either the iPhone or the Samsung. If you had to choose, say if you lean more towards the iPhone, would it be the iPhone 10 or would it be the iPhone 8 or 8 Plus?
Okay, so here's the thing. If, in fact, I was still a regular consumer, I wouldn't have any of the current devices because I didn't live my life like that. I was in the stock. I was in the corporate world, so I wouldn't even have the current phone. I would have a phone from probably 2 years ago because a phone wasn't priority to me. I was into other things, and life was just different for me when I was in the corporate world. I mean, when I was in law enforcement, I wasn't thinking about my cell phone. I needed a phone that if I drop it, I can pick it up and it can come with me. And when I got into like the office setting, I just wanted a phone that can bang out emails fast. So, and I used to keep my phones for like until they broke. So I wouldn't have a current phone. And it would probably be an iPhone. It'll probably be like the iPhone 6 or something, or the iPhone 6S. I will be a couple of generations behind because I used to always keep a case on it and a screen protector, and I would just put it in my pocket or I'll have it on a belt clip or something. It just wasn't important to me. The battery life lasted a long time because I wasn't on it a lot. I was just on it for emails and phone calls. I didn't like to text. It's amazing how I am today. People see me today like, wow, I can't believe this is you. Yeah, this is me. This is what I'm doing. I just wasn't interested in it. So I think I would probably have a Galaxy S something from 3 generations back, or an iPhone something from 3 or 4 generations back. I wouldn't have a current phone because I was saving money. I was about saving money, and I was about putting my money into the house. I was building a new part of the house, or something like that, or working on my car. I just wasn't interested. I wasn't interested in the stuff the tech like I am today. Even though I went to college for my applications, that wasn't out front because I wasn't full time doing it. My career had switched over to legal services and law enforcement, so that's what I was doing. But I think I would have like a 3 generations backwards. I just wasn't spending money like that, on stuff like that. I mean, do you think you would have the current model phone?
Probably not. I probably have. Let me think. I still am to this day one of my favorite phones. The Galaxy S6 Edge Plus.
Dude, that was a hot phone. That was a hot phone, dude. That was hot.
6 Edge Plus.
That was hot. That was a hot ticket right there.
Or the Note Edge.
Oh wow, I like that one too. Well, I promised you guys a good 30 minutes or so, and that 30 minutes shot on by. Trust me, we're at about 35 minutes. What I'm going to do is probably going to, if Night Tech is free, and I want to get one more person on the podcast. So I want to get I want to do a 3-way podcast, or maybe even a 4-way podcast with 2 other tech reviewers. So I probably want to make that happen tomorrow, not like tomorrow or a Thursday or not on the regular Tuesday, because I want that to be kind of something special. Because I want to get together and freestyle it like we do, man. There's nothing scripted about this, so we just kind of throw the topics out there. Let's chat about it. But it's Tuesday's podcast. I'm going to reach out to 2 people after this, and I'll shoot you a message somewhere on social media and see if I can reach out to you if you'll be free in the next 24 hours. Because I really want to do a podcast, because me and Night Tech, this is our 3rd run at this, and I want to get a different perspective from me and him about the current topics of today. So I'm going to reach out to some people later on tonight. I got to run and do something real quick, but I want to reach out, and I want to get some different people on the podcast, and I want to get a conference going. And so I owe you guys another one. So Night Tech, if you're up to it and you're free tomorrow, hopefully we can get 2 other people on tomorrow if that works for you.
I'll have to check my
schedule. If not, I'm going to roll with 2 people, or 1 or 2 other people at least, and get it. Because this topic is really good and I want to keep going, but I'm obligated to something else. So I had to at least give 30 minutes or so as promised. It's Tuesday's podcast. It's your man, Jay Will. If you're a tech reviewer, I might reach out to you here in the next 24 hours or so and see if we can get you on the podcast, because I love to hear different perspectives of people, which is why I started inviting Night Tech on. And thank you, Bless, for him for blessing me to get on the podcast. So it's your man Jay Will. It's Night Tech. We are out of here with today's podcast. Tuesday. We got to do another one, man. We have to. I hope you can be free in the next 24 hours, Night Tech, because I want to get you and somebody else on here, and I already know who I'm thinking about, so I'll try to reach out to them in the next 24 hours or so. But everybody, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's your man Jay Will. It's Night Tech from Night Tech Reviews. Shout out to everybody in the podcast. Hopefully we'll be doing this again tomorrow night if I can get those people to free up some of their schedule for about an hour or so, and we'll chat tech. What do you guys think about that? I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take care.
Peace.